Okay, there. Alright. I think I've got all this set up. I'll head on over to the computer for a couple of minutes to put the link of this stream out to the places I put it out to. So I will be back momentarily. I'm right over here, so do not worry. Whoever is not in chat yet. Yeah, just doing the usual, putting up description, putting out the link. Let's see here. Let us go over to this site. This usually has the link. That's not what I wanted to click. Yeah, unfortunately, since this is not a on the computer stream, there's no music for me to put up in the background. So you'll just have to sit tight and possibly hear when I am humming stuff over here. All right, there we go, there we go. Got that, and got that. Save that. And 2 more websites to go to. Okay, take this. Go here. Bada-bo. And over here. Da-da. Bada. Bada, 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 yeah, da-da-do. Comic. Okay, okay, I think I've got everything all set. Let us see. There we go. All right. Okay. I think we are good to go. Okay, so we are on page 61 of the latest Dreamscape comic of Heroes and Legends. I did all the shading last night. Let me see, I need to get a paper clip. I know I have some around here, because I use them whenever I do a comic page. But they always disappear once I'm done using them. So I will have to hunt for one. There we go. Alrighty. we can proceed. Let us just get this clipped into here properly. Yeah, I always, actually, I should do a few pages behind it so that it stays clamped in better against the pressure. Yeah, if I don't do the paper clip when I have the page sitting upright, it's not a problem if it's laying down, but if it's upright like this, the paper behind it slides down, so it messes up when I'm drawing sometimes. Because your pencil will want to go along the edge of whatever's behind the paper, which if you're drawing a line along it, but not like directly against it, it'll like skew the line and get you knocked off of the course you were trying to do. And then you have to fix it in editing, which is never fun. Here we are, working on the next page. Another day in the life of the Edward. Yeah, what is happening here is this is another page of not really any dialogue. It's just pure action, pretty much. The lighting seems to be getting a bit wonky there in the camera. Not in, like, what I'm seeing, but what the digital thing is showing what you are viewing on YouTube. It sort of flickers a bit depending on where the light is hitting on the camera. But here we're just doing a bunch of lines around the image to show that something impactful is happening in this top panel. And now that I'm putting this at a slant, the paper is trying to fall out from beneath that. Yeah, this is always an easy way to, like, show energy and excitement for a panel, is just go around the outside with all these lines so that your eyes are drawn towards the inside, while still having all these sorta details of energy around it. What is happening in the panel is Doko is punching, and his fist is getting blocked by the claw's claw, because he put it up to block it. It was like a series of frantic punches that Doko was doing in the previous page, and despite everything he's trying to do, the claw is still somewhat effortlessly countering him. So he kept dodging and dodging, and now he decided to actually block Doko, which will lead into him wrapping his claws around Doko's arm to flip him over again. But since Doko has been through this before, it's not going to go the same as the previous time. At least not without some extra steps. Alright, I think that should be good. Aito. Yeah, and since there's all these speed lines for Doko punching here, normally I do Doko's color the blackening of it on the computer to get it like completely black, and so there's no reflection from the graphite and stuff. But in instances like this, sometimes what I'll do is I'll actually go in and fill it in as with like the graphite instead of digitally to have it be more consistent with the line work that's going on, since it's a bunch of lines that are happening. It sort of bleeds into not being as solid of a black object when you have all the speed lines going on. It becomes more of a sketchy endeavor. Yeah, Dragon Ball later on, when it would do its action, would do like it would do speed lines from both directions of the object when it was moving fast and had an impact against something. But I never really felt that the when you like impact that the speed lines would come off of the front end of the object where the impact happened, because that would imply that it's like moving backwards quickly, which it could be in that series, but it doesn't look as good to me as when you just have the speed lines coming from the back end. Normally, there'd be like little sort of rounded bumping line effects I would feel after, like for the top part where the impact actually happened. That just comes down to what different creators think things should be drawn like. Toriyama or whatever assistant was doing the work at that time had a different line of thinking than I did about the action for that intricacy. It looks fine in general. It's just that little bit that no one, like, just passing by would notice unless they examine the artwork. But yeah, little rounded sort of things like this is what I'd mean. Let's see. Don't really know how much this loud impact design here is really needed, since you have all the lines around, but yeah, I'll just add it in for an extra little bit of impact feel. And then once I color in what I do of this part black on the computer, it'll look clearer. But obviously this is Doko's arm here. A few more speed lines there. Maybe some here. Oh. Knocked the thing all around there. Okay. All right. Now we get into drawing the part where Doko's hand is uncurling its fingers after the collision of the fist failed. And in that moment, the claw is going to be wrapping his claws around the hand. So we don't want to do... Yeah, don't want to do the whole whole hand, the arm here all the way, because the claw is wrapping around the underside of its palm. So we kinda show the palm of it coming up over the claw's claw here. And we want some speed lines to show that this claw is coming down from where it had been in the previous panel. And there we go. Now, I've always wanted to do a music video of, I think Jack and Daxter with the Hell song. Always seemed like a kind of fitting music choice given the time period the games came out. Then we show the other claw wrapping around the other side there. Although I'm not sure how much the claws will get lost in the details of the line work and the blackness of the objects behind them. We'll see how it looks as it goes. Just have a little panel of Doko's face down here. Yeah, I was not expecting the other day to, like, do an entire little animation of Doko when I did that stream. That just kinda ended up happening. It's kinda cool to have all that happen and be recorded and stuff. Yeah, I feel that a lot of times, if you've done animation, you have a better understanding of how to do action and motion in comic making. So that is something that can help with the how your construction of movement goes when you get more into the action side of comics. Of course, then there are people that never have done animation before that make action look incredible, like Jack Kirby and Kira Toriyama. People that just clearly their brains have studied how action works. And they just know how to do that in still imagery. This is always an odd angle to do Doko's face from. Like, the complete front of the face is something I rarely ever do for Doko because it always looks very odd to me. I always do his face, it's sort of a slant, because then it, like, gives the general look that you always see of him. But having it just from the front, it's like, well, which way does the hair go at this part? Because I always see it from an angle. And then if you get it looking too different, it doesn't really look like the character. So yeah, it's an angle that I rarely ever do for him. But we're not even seeing his full face here, so it works better. It's just a close-up on him to show that he is looking down at where he is being grabbed. And realizing that the same thing is happening to him that did when the tournament match started. And he is expecting the flinging that is going to happen from the claw. Now let's see. I guess I can have that be an all black image. Okay. Maybe put some texture markings on the goggles earpieces here. Just to give it that look of being a clunky, solid object. Okay. Have the pencil sharpener. I wish I had the electric pencil sharpener, but that broke some weeks ago. That would always sharpen the pencil correctly. With this sharpener, it sometimes breaks off the graphite, and I have to spend like minutes more resharpening it and then possibly breaking it again. It's not nearly as good of a sharpener. Of course, back in the old days, you just took a knife and whittled away at it, trying to get it to a point. Yeah, that's the old-fashioned way of doing it. And it does work after enough of doing it. Okay, we got the object in the speed lines, so we'll need to show it between the lines there. Okay. Now, whenever I show the object behind the speed lines, I always make the little broken bits of line that represent the object longer to show it going along with the speed of the speed lines. Here it's the claw's claw moving fast to flip Doko into the air. Ow, 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 ow. Ouch. Okay, and Doko, he's flying off from there. So have some speed lines going towards the claw. There we go. Another day. I'm trying to wake up as I do this. I'm always sleepy. Okay, that should work for the speed lines. Got the tournament building back here that all the fighters reside in. Keep changing what is in the background on this page because the camera keeps moving with where the characters are getting thrown and moving to. A lot of action on this page. Which I always do like a good action page. It allows the art to be the focus rather than cluttering it up with the text bubbles and stuff. That's one thing I like about the Earthworm Jim black and white edition book that I got. Is it has scenes from Launch the Cow and Fight the Fish in it, but it has it before the color has been added in, and that's, I guess, before they do the word bubbles, so you get to see like the entire art of those pages without any of the words to like get in the way of the art. It's very nice looking. I do love I do like a good story, but at the same time, having the art speak for itself usually makes things look better visually. It's part of what Samurai Jack did so well is those bits where it's no talking, just the scenery and the magic of the visuals showing what is going on. That truly is one of the most artistic cartoons I've ever seen. One of the greatest shows of all time. Although I guess that's kind of par for the course with Gendy. Primal is essentially those silent segments of Samurai Jack turned into a show with more focus on viciousness from the dinosaur era of things. I did see a few of those episodes in those streams they were doing of Gendy's stuff a few weeks, or I guess a few months ago now. And then we got the bricks back here, making up the building that the tournament fighters reside in. Let's see, how do I do this? I know that Gendy did a few Luke Cage comics, which was quite a nice treat to see due to all his, like, way of drawing people in their sort of caricature-esque proportions. I think I remember Wolverine just being a grisly-looking, blocky guy running around. If I remember right, Luke Cage was a Power Man, which was always kind of a sort of lame superhero name to me. Although I guess it's the same effort as you'd give for, like, Captain Marvel or something. So it kinda goes along with the tradition. Sweet Christmas. Just filling in the bricks here. Gotta do the arena ground lines here. Yeah, I kinda started this stream sort of in the middle of what I usually show for the physical portion of the comic making process. Although it is always, it's harder to do the shading with this pointed upwards. I guess everything's technically harder doing it like when it's standing up, but it is easier to do the line work standing up than the shading, I think. I can at least move the sketchbook when I need to for adjusting the angle that it's being worked on at. And let's see, if I really want Doko to look right, I need to flip this upside down to get his face right. Yeah, because if you do it at the angle that the face is not facing and then turn it later to look at how it looks from the character's point of view, it will just look all warped and messed up because you've been working at an angle that is not natural to draw the object from. And in turn, it will make the art look worse from the angle you are normally viewing it from on the page. It's just that you won't really notice it that much. Like, your brain will pick up on something being off if it focuses on the object, but unless they turn it to the angle that the face is at, they won't really understand why it looks off. When they do view it at the angle the face is at, it'll just look, oh, that's why it's off, because it looks all fucked up. Okay. Doko's looking, well, from his point of view, he's looking upwards, but he's really looking down, since he's upside down, towards the ground where he's going to, like, hit, because he has predicted that he would get flung into the air, so he is just sort of anticipating where he's going to land this time, since he's already been through these motions before. And in turn, that's going to make him more prepared for the next course of action to take, instead of just nearly getting thrown straight out of the ring again. Sort of a development of experience that's being shown through the course of the comic pages. The character learning as they progress the fight. I'll probably end up moving Doko's mouth further down his face a bit in the editing process, but here I'm just going to leave it as is, because if I erase it and redo it, it might just make it look smudged up, which will make me have to edit it even more later. Now, whenever I show this wall of the building, it's always the bricks here. Gotta fill all these in. Let's see, so that's there, which would mean that would be there, that would be there, that would be there. Yeah, it's kind of a pattern that you get into with following the perspective of the lines. You want everything to look like it's going at the right angles. Okay, so there'd be a line there. Sometimes I leave out some lines, depending on how much work I want to dedicate to a panel, and just how I think it will look, like the individual pictures will look. All depends on what I am thinking for that panel at that point in time. Make believe reborn, myth and mind reform. Yeah, these lines are a bit off. Raise them up a bit. Okay, so that goes like that. That's better. Ba-da-bo-ba-da-bo. Ba-ba-da-ba-da. Ba-ba-ba-da. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da. Yeah-da-da-da-ba-da-da-da-da-da. Okay. Then we got Doko's leg down here. Or or I guess up there. Upside down characters. Now, that's one thing that's harder to do in digital, is getting the angle when you have the characters at odd directions, working at the angles that the mind wants you to work at, for getting how things look correct. It's not as easy to warp around the digital canvas as it is to just move this with your hands. Oh, that movement kind of got the paperclip messed up there. Let's see, so that leg is like that. So then the other goes like this, I think. That's where the foot would be. Alright. But is that coming out too far? It probably is. Probably needs to come to about there. That looks better. There we go. And there. And here. And there. That's all good. I do sometimes wonder what it'd be like if people like Jack Kirby or John Romita had the technology we do now, if they would be doing videos back in their time. Hello, folks, and welcome to How to Draw Captain America. Today we'll be seeing him punching a few Nazis. It's a favorite pastime of mine. Did you ever hear that I killed 3 of them in the war? Yeah, that's something that Jack Kirby would always sort of... that's a story he'd tell all the time. And I think it was Stan Sakai, I remember, was saying that every time that he would talk with Jack Kirby, like at celebrations and stuff, Jack would always talk about how, oh, I killed 3 Nazis during the war. But every time he told it, the location would change. And Stan Sakai ended that off with saying, you know, Jack had to have killed like half of the German army. Yeah. No, Jack was a character. He wasn't the best at speaking at times, but he always was I think he was a very intelligent person. He just operated on a calmer wavelength and more loose talking with his thoughts. From what I've heard, it's stuff that would make sense as you thought about it later on. But in the moment, sometimes the stuff he say would not be as compatible with conversation as it would after you stopped talking to him. Draw some speed lines there. Showing Doko, he's gripping the ground and scraping his fingers along it to bring himself to a stop, because he has caught himself instead of letting himself be flung about and topple towards the ending of the arena. And we got this little sound effect coming off here. Sketch. Yeah, when I do sound effects, it's not, I don't repeat the same sound effects too often. It's like, if there's a punch, it's not going to be pow. It's going to be more of like an interpretation of what the actual sound would be. So it'd be like, pa-cha, something like that, where it's, I'm trying to make words out of those sounds. It changes a lot of time. It changes almost every time when you do the impact noises, what the, I'd say word, but it's not really a word, what the mess of consonants I write after it is. It's kind of like the Joker's laughter. They don't just do he ha ha, they do he hoo ha ha he ha ha hoo. Things like that. They always give him all sorts of crazy laugh sound effects in the comics. Ow, ow, ow. Yeah, I've been kneeling in like one place this whole time. Show some rocks flying out from between his fingers here. And since it's the arena's ground, put in some of these lines to show the different panels that the ground is made up of. Gives an indication as to where the hand is touching. Doesn't just have it being like some blank empty space. Of course, you gotta have texture on the panels. Let's see, so that might work. There's enough panels for the grounds. Whenever I show the more solid objects close up, I a lot of times put these cracks in here, even if it's not like something that's been all that damaged. It's just, it adds to the texture. It implies the roughness of the thing. Yeah. Oh, bow. Hi. Alright. Alright. Well, we are getting through this a bit. Ouch. It's kinda rough when you're kneeling on something for long. You begin to feel the cushion fade away and feel the wood or whatever hard object they've used for the frame of the furniture underneath it. I did some shading for the stones that are making up the wall in this panel. Up here, they're unshaded. Down here is more texture going on. Oh boy, yaro. Ah, bah, bah. Mayada. I noticed when I was looking back through my Let's Plays that I did of Mega Man Zero, I say a few times an old phrase I used to say. I think I only really did it in Zero 4. It's a phrase I'd always say when I'd get annoyed in when I was younger, which is Oyayama. And the whole thing is Oyayama Oyano, but normally I'd just shorten it to Oyayama. And I'm not sure if it even means anything. It's just a noise that I made when I was younger, when I was annoyed, and then it evolved into Oyayama from that. And I ended up making Jake and Amy, and by extension of being around them all the time, Jack Kite eventually, which were all characters from my older adventures when I was younger. They would always say that when they'd get annoyed. So, if that ever pops up in the comics, that is where that phrase comes from. Figured at some point I would have the current Diabolic Angels, Sprite, and Rascal probably say it. Yeah, those fights with Kraft in Zero 4 were not fun. It's a fun game, but he can go to hell. Ouch. Ow. Yeah, there were a few points in Zero 1 and Zero 4 that got me to just stop playing the game for long periods of time. Kraft being the primary one. The other was the ending of Zero 1. But I eventually got back into it and beat it. It's just that once you go into the final area, all those spikes and stuff, it's not the most pleasant. Alright. Yeah, draw some speed lines here to show Doko coming in from where he was flung in the previous panel. And then have his foot hits down here. So we want to have lines of impact there. And then he skidded to a stop with this hand. We're just drawing the little tiny brief settling of that hand after this panel here. Sometimes I do wish I could do all the pages in color, but other times I do enjoy having it be black and white with little segments of color throughout the issues. Makes it feel more like a Shonen Jump type of comic. You get a nice little sprinkling of specialness with the rare moments of color. We will be coming up on the colored part of the comic in about 4 pages, I think. But we're not there yet. I'm pretty sure I cannot stream doing the watercolor, because I would have to take the camera and hold it with this hand while I work with this hand, and that's not happening. I've recorded myself doing watercolor before, but doing a stream of it is, I don't think that's something I can manage with having to focus on talking and painting and holding the camera. I know there's setups people come up with for how to do it, but I do not have that type of a setup. Just drawing the foot touching down here. Coming back around from where it is sort of been left to drift through the air in the flinging that was done to Doku's body. This isn't nearly the most dangerous fight that Doku is gonna be in the series, but it is, to this point, probably the most skill required fight that he's been in. Yeah, always draw a bunch of little rocks and pebbles coming off of the point of impact when it's a hard surface to show more that there is an impact happening. It helps to define that motion to the viewer's sight. Draw in the other arm here. There we go. All right. Yeah, hopefully the shadows that are being cast onto the page are not messing up the screen too much. I know that the lighting has been changing based on the what light reaches where on the camera. Haven't really been able to pay attention to that though, since I'm focusing on drawing instead of the screen mostly. It's easier to view the screen when it's on the computer, because the streaming program is like side by side with where you are doing the actual drawing and stuff. OBS, that is the streaming program. Alright, got both goggles there. Let's see. Okay, I think I have his mouth open a bit here. Yeah, that'll do. And then draw some teeth in there to show that the inside of the mouth is closed. Sort of gritting the teeth as he comes back down and prepares for his course of action after sustaining the effects of what was done to him in the throw. Okay. Then draw that and that. There we go. And then another speed line or two here. Okay. Alright, I am going to walk away for a minute to get some more ice for my drink. So everybody just sit tight and enjoy the page here, I guess. Yeah. I'll be right back over there, just a second. Oh, ouch. Ow, ow, ow. Crick, crack, crack. Alright, alright, alright. Bada-boo. Okay. Alright. Ouch. I'm back here. I am back. Do not worry. Edward is here. He has more ice. He has drink. He has pencil that is not breaking. So, let us get back into working here and nearly knocking over the camera. Alright, what is left here? Okay, yeah. This was going to be, this is sort of a fourth wall breaking moment here, where Doko, he like lands in this panel, and then keeps on going through the rest of the panels in the middle area, and just sort of ignoring the lines, the panels of the comic itself. I always like to incorporate the fourth wall acknowledgement into the issues of the comic. Like, it's usually, I would not really call it, like, fourth wall humor much a lot of times, because it's not really humor, it's just, he's going through the page, and it's, it's a nice little, I guess I would say, use of the comic medium, is what it is, as opposed to being as much of a joke. Obviously, if there was a cartoon of this, they would not have him probably go across the cell frames of animation or the backgrounds or whatever. I mean, they could. They'd take more thought on how to do that than this, but it's something that's done a lot easier and visually pleasing in a comic as opposed to a cartoon. Yeah, but here Doko's just resorted to sort of running on all fours like an animal after coming back down and hitting the ground on all of his limbs. And then he bends up into an actual run, which'll bring him around to the back of the claw where he's got his arms out to either side. Let's see, where was the... That's there. So the line for the ground would be here? Yeah, that's a good one. I'll need to twist the page a bit to get it right. Want it at the right angle. So that's like that. We'll have another right there. I don't think we can really do many more panel lines there without it interfering with the speed lines that Doko is barging into as he goes across the page. Yeah, a lot of times I don't feel that comics make the best use of what is possible in their medium. And that's something I have always sort of tried to work into the comic. I'll not really try. This is sort of just second nature to me to make things break through comic panels and stuff. It just makes it more fun to look at. And it's however I think of making the character get from point A to point B at parts depending on what I'm doing on the comic page. Just having him go, well, he's hopping across the comic panel and going through that one. Yeah, it's kind of fun to do. But... the claw is going to get lost trying to keep track of where Doko is running. But then down here, he's like looking around to try and find him, and then he hears Doko yell his next attack, which lets the claw just know where he's gonna be. So he just puts his claw up and blocks Doko's foot here. And then Doko flips back off of it again. And that'll lead into the next page. Oh. Okay, we should get the characters up here in the stands. I didn't really have any characters, like, planned out to be in the stands, like, what they would look like, so I'm kind of just making these ones up as I work on the page here. Everyone's sort of just watching in awe and amazement at this point. Doko and the Claw showing some pretty impressive moves throughout this fight, more so than the audience was probably expecting. Like, they'd seen Doko in the previous matches and how he can operate, but they hadn't really seen the Claw do too much that we've seen on screen. And this match, he's dealing with a character that is not just getting flung right out of the ring like all of his other opponents. That's not to say Doko can't lose, it's just that it's taken a lot longer than the previous matches that the Claw has had. For all these characters in the stands, when I need to make new ones up, it's just whatever design pops into my head as I'm working on them. Usually it's 2 eyes, a mouth, and that's the basics of what the character will look like. But sometimes it's 1 eye or robot eyes or something, because this world they live in has all sorts of modified people and stuff. Yeah, we'll give this person some droopy, I guess, animal-like ears here. Yeah, some standing up spiky hair. I was going to say Vegeta hair, but it's not really raised up enough to be a Vegeta type quality for the hair. Yeah, Vegeta's hair sorta it's a lot more elongated upwards than normal spiky hair, which probably just goes along with the usual Toriyama way of doing the designs. He always does very large hair pieces. And then you got characters like Nappa that have nothing except his mustache. Guy that's white as a house and got as much facial hair as one. Not too many characters to put in the stands up there, at least. More in this one, the panel next to it. And you always gotta throw in a mix of boys and girls. We'll give this person a scouter or robot eye. I guess a robot eye. Makes me think kind of Leon from the second time you fight Starwolf in Star Fox 64. I am the great Leon. I want to say that Rareware worked on that game, but I'm not sure. I know they obviously did a Star Fox Adventures, which was Dinosaur Planet. I do wish Dinosaur Planet had been the one that had come out. It was always a shame to lose that to the Star Fox brand. Yeah, that's the way it goes with Nintendo. Oh, that guy looks like Fox. Why don't you make it a Star Fox game? It was kind of sad to me because Rareware did such amazing titles for their own stuff. Like Jet Force Gemini, it's an indication of what potential they could have had for Dinosaur Planet. And obviously, Dinosaur Planet is still there mostly. It's just Star Fox looking. But they were going to have like a whole time jump thing, and there was going to be that second to last boss in that game. I think it's Draco is his name. They don't really say anything about him in Star Fox Adventures, but I think he was supposed to be one of the main villains of Dinosaur Planet, which was really sad to me because he had an awesome design. That is the casualties of the hell in development for games. Let's see. Give that guy a bit more squarer of a face. And just sort of trail off with him, since he's not really fully in frame. Yeah, you want the characters in the background when you draw characters for the background to look distinctive, but not really take attention away from what's going on in the foreground. So I don't really focus as much on the background things when compared to the foreground goings on. Ouch. Yep. Now, I need to draw the claw's eyes over the hat here. Well, that's something I'll have to fix in editing. But I'll give a little guide for myself for when I do with putting the eyes over it still. Yeah, he's kind of just trailing Doko's movement with his eyes. Oh. There we go. Put the little band on the hat here. And there we go. And where do the claws... This claw goes like that. And then the other should go like that, I think. I had the claws drawn out, but the lines seem to have faded in the smudging and erasing process afterwards. Okay. That's good. Blah, 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 blah. Oh. Okay, bring this stool more towards me. Got that. The claw is way too thin. Gotta fix that up. And pretty much any mistake that I make has to be reworked in editing, because no matter how much you erase, if you're doing the hard lines, it's always going to be there regardless in some form. So there's a lot of cleanup work that ends up having to be done with each page. Alright, show the claws coming down a tiny bit from where he flung Doko. And I guess this would be the wall that the camera guy is not at. Which might mean I should show the crack in the wall from where Doko blasted it when he was fighting Opticlops. I used to get Opticlops' name mixed up a lot when I was making the comic here, because I hadn't used his name too much, so I kept calling him Hypnoclops whenever I would talk to myself about him or be trying to figure out what to write for his name, because he uses his special technique called Hypnoply, and that would always get mixed up in my head, where it's like, oh, Opticlops Hypnoply, and then it'd be like, Hypnoclops Optiply, and I'd have to keep sorting through that every time I would do his name in my head. By this point, though, I generally get the name correct. I don't think any of that mix-up made it into the comic itself, but it was part of how it was during the development of this issue. And I guess the previous issue, because he used that technique on Levicat when he did his first match. I think during this issue it got sorted out more in my head. Okay. So we got this as the line for the ground. Go like that. When it came to the tournament fighters, I had concepts drawn out for Levicat and Veltzer von Vangel, and I do know where those concepts are. For Aquashi, though, I think she mostly stayed the same. Decker evolved out of designs I had for like a character that had dreadlock type of head. And then I think it sort of evolved also out of a surfboard futuristic looking character that had the hair, or not the hair, but the head shape he has now. And then that just ended up being Decker. Okay, so that's a panel. That's that. So we'd have one more down there. Ugh. I keep almost falling off this stool that I'm balancing on, doing this page. That's what some of the camera shaking has been, me bumping against that as I desperately try not to fall over and crack my head or whatever. I believe that's the tune they use in the Banana Splits, which is a show that my dad loved when he was younger. Add some texture lines. Then I think we just have Doko down there to do. Running as an animal would. Get the sole of his boot there. Get the other sole here. Then his leg, his other leg, comes over here. There we go. Now, whenever happy tunes get stuck in my head for too long, I try to think of another really catchy tune. Sometimes it'll be like a darker, more rock type of music to offset the cheeriness of it. Back off, I'll take you on. Headstrong, I'll take on anyone. I know that you are wrong. Headstrong, we're headstrong. Yeah, people loved using that song for all sorts of AMVs back in the earlier days of YouTube. There were, oh, a lot of them used that for like Dragon Ball Z music videos they do. There were a few staple songs that people would use for AMVs. There was Breakin' the Habit, Numb, a lot of Linkin Park ones. And when you got the good music videos, you got some pretty damn good music videos back then. For the YouTube scene. A lot of things I don't care for with any era of music videos is when they do not match the actions in the video to the beat of the song. That's the perfect way to do a music video, is just go to the beat. That's kind of how it works. And a lot of people just lay just scenes over music, and it's like, that's not a music video, that's just putting music over a scene. One person that was amazing at music video creation was JimLad800. That person is one of the all-time greats of YouTube video music making. Or YouTube music video making. I would watch their stuff for hours. Love their Body Harvest music video. Love their Mario Galaxy. Just everything they did. Top quality. Unfortunately, I don't think they've really posted anything in about a decade, but they're always one that I go back to. Yeah, if there is anyone that is an inspiration to me music video wise, it'd be JimLad800. There was a Yeti112. That was the Resident Evil music video maker person. Those two were like the greats of YouTube music video making to me. Although there have been a number of amazing music videos, but from people that are less consistent with creating music videos, or just have one-off music videos that are amazing and then sort of drop out in doing that. Okay, I think I'll have the speed lines go behind the panel in this one, because you can see Doko, his hand, going down into the panel here. So that implies he's going behind the panels after popping out from in front of this one. Circling a circle in a circle in your head, contemplating everything you ever said. Now I see the truth in it. Yeah, there were a lot of Jack and Daxter music videos also with those old staple music video songs of YouTube. The Jack Goes Wee, I think, was one of the people that was a primary Jack and Daxter music video maker. Why am I working on the claw's hat? I need to work on the top stuff first, or else I'll end up smearing the graphite when I work bottom to top. Okay, so Doko is circling around. So we will... It's going around. So where would the camera be? I'll just have a bunch of new characters up in the stands so that it can be like anywhere that the scene is going to be for where the camera is pointing. And everyone's just watching all bug-eyed from the audience. Just marveling at the speed and action that's going on. Yeah, we'll give... Let's see. We'll give this person like a robot head, but leave room for the nose. Now, one thing I want is to be a bit consistent in the somewhat randomness of the audience and the community, the populace of Earth in this series. Because in Dragon Ball, they have a lot of wacky things earlier on, like when it comes to how the people of Earth look. But as it goes on, it just turns into like normal looking humans mostly, which has always been a big detriment to the series as it goes on to me. Yeah, I wanna keep it with the more diverse designs of the inhabitants of Earth for this. See you later. I see your fantasy. You wanna make it a reality, babe, then show. Back off, I'll take you on. Headstrong, I'll take on anyone. I know that you are wrong. Headstrong, we're headstrong. Yeah, there was a good Leonardo Ninja Turtles music video. No, it was a Shredder music video that used that song. I guess a Sharel music video, since it's the 2003 Shredder. Yeah, we got a little elf-eared person down here that is watching intently, pushed up against their hands in front of them, either out of alarm or excitement. I guess we'll give him a top hat. Not quite sure why he chose that style, but it's his and he will continue to run with it. Alright, I forgot. The hat is raised up enough here that you can see part of what is underneath the Claw's hat there. Yeah, all these people got human noses in this part. I guess we'll make this person have glasses here. That person's just sort of staring off into the distance, so I'll have to fix that. That was the tune they always used for, what was it called? It was on Cartoon Network. It was a block that would run towards the nighttime. I think it was called Prime Time. It was, I think during the Powerhouse era. I don't think it was the Cartoon Network City era, though it might have been. If it was Powerhouse, it was later on in the Powerhouse era. Give this person sort of a helmet type thing here. Not quite sure why they have it, but I don't question the decisions these people make in this society. We live in a society. Draw the stands line there. Okay, and now that we got the line, connect all of the lower lines of the characters to it, so there's not this gap between them and the stands. And sometimes I leave out the chairs that are behind the characters up here. And that's because it takes too much time away sometimes from working on the scene. Ow. Although most times I have it all in anyway, because it's like how much time it takes is just whatever I decide for it. I should give this guy an interior to their ear. There we go. Okay. Sometimes I'll leave the interiors of the ears blank, but when I have them in focus, I usually draw the interiors of the ears in the character designs. I remember that's something that Steven Universe and Amphibia would do, is they would just leave it blank. So when Steven is like using a Q-tip on his ear, he's just like rubbing nothing. It's just this block of flesh that has no detail to it. Might be drawing some of those characters too big, but with how much more focus is on, like how much bigger Doko and the Claw are here as compared to here, it might even out a bit. Yeah, well, we'll make this some sort of girl that's just sitting up there. Give the hair a tiny bit of lines to it. There we go. Guess, yeah, make the shirt gray. And that'll leave the arms as white against the gray for the chair. Ouch. Get up, straighten the knees, press back against the right shoulder, and crack the neck. Ouch, ow, ow, ow. Too much of staying in one position for too long. Ow. Ugh. Pop, crick, crack. Yawn, tired, tired. You know, I never know if I am or am not tired, because at this point I just sort of feel the same all the time. And I can't tell if like I ever feel normal or if I work so much that I'm just always tired and that is what normal is to me. Ow, ow, ow. but it is what I, operate on to get work done, so it evens out. Here is a baruma you guys can look at while I'm stretching around here. It's not really a good place to put her, I don't think. That'll work. There's a Bulma with her capsule 341. One of the early capsules, or what were they called? The hoi poi capsules? Yeah, that's what they're called in Japanese, which, hoi poi is the sound effect that is used for when the capsules pop open. That's why they're called the hoi poi capsules. Babayato. Hi. I found something in one of the boxes around here. Here is me and my brother both had one of these, but these are the Toys R Us Bionicle Kanohi mask container things. Just had all of these to put the masks in. Do have Takua. It was always special when you got like a light color of one of the great Kanohis or a dark color of one of the noble ones. Got Gollies. There's some painted masks. Oh, and there's a Lee Khan's Hau. The special Evoki that came with Takuta Nuva's set. I always loved Taraga Dume's Kanohi because it's got like this black smear to the top of the red. Did not care for the movie version that much, but I usually did not like the movie designs when compared to the toy designs. Get back in there, come on. There you go. Oh! There's a, the copper mask that we managed to get in, the Kanohi box once. We'd get so many Kanohi packs. I believe it was like Legoland or something back when the old Bionicle stuff was out. You could actually get a more copper-looking copper mask from that. Obviously, I do not have that. Yeah. You know, it is a good thing that we humans can drink water. Because if we had to survive on another type of liquid element, that would not be as... there wouldn't be as many of us here today. Ow. Baruma, please move. Baruma. Yeah, some versions of Dragon Ball, I believe, call her Bluma to go along with a more accurate portrayal of what her name is a play on, which is bloomers, the female underwear. And her son is Trunks, her sister that's never seen until they make her up after the series is over is Tights. There's Dr. Briefs. And I forget the mom's name. Bulma's mom is one of the least utilized characters in Dragon Ball's cast. Dragon Ball. Ah. Toyoto. And we'll do one last person back here. Then we can get on to Claw and Doko. And we'll give this person a robo-eye. Because why not? No real room for a nose there. So I'll just leave them noseless. Give them some slicked back spike hair. And put in some object for the ear there. Okay. I think that should do with that row of people in the audience. All right, and this Doko is technically one that is appearing second, but since he's at the left, I'm going to be drawing him first. I work from left to right. That way, I don't end up going back over things and smearing things with my hand. Gonna sharpen this pencil again. I'm going to break the pencil a bit, apparently. Yeah, that'll work. Actually, I got a few other pencils here. No, I'll just stick with this one for right now. I think that's as good as we can really get the lighting. And Doko is kind of just circling around the claw in his rebound of when he was flung into the air. I don't know if Doko's really thinking of it as a tactic, but he is making use of it either intentionally or unintentionally in his whirling around. The claw is not able to keep up in his sudden surprise of Doko immediately breaking into this motion around him after he lands. He probably would keep up if he had the time to process what was going on, but it's sort of just in the moment right now. Doko Doko's just got a very stern, serious face. It's the face kind of evolves throughout the panels. Here he lands, like here up here, he's like got it closed and glaring. And then he lands and the mouth opens a bit, showing the teeth. It opens more here, showing more teeth. Then by the time he whips around to the other side of the claw, it's closed again in his more focused state. I drew the goggles a bit too low into the head. Raise it up a tiny bit. There we go. So the back of the skull would be there, so the hair comes out there. Bring it out a bit more. That should work. Okay, so the claw gets in, his arm gets in front of Doko. Now, while I'm doing this, I always have to be thinking of how I initially drew the lighter versions of the lines. And where things line up in front of and in back of each other with the objects. Okay. So that's there. The other arm splays out to there. Yeah, Doko's just kind of positioning himself for what his next course of action will be. Okay, so that's there. The claw's body in his turning is coming over to here. All right. Then his eyes open up a bit. You can see them still wide-eyed, kind of under the brim of the hat, but it's not as pronounced here since the eyes aren't going over the hat like they are in this panel. But if you look close enough, you can see what's under the hat here. It's under the hat to the side of the eyes. There we go. Yeah, drawing the action is always more... It's more pleasant than drawing the audience, because with the audience, it's more of background elements that I have to keep repeating over and over and over for like the entire comic. Yeah, it's I will be kinda happy to not have to keep drawing a ton of people in the background after this issue is done. Ah, bye-bye. Some texture on the wall back there. Ba-dum, ba-dum. And then Doko, he needs some speed lines to indicate that he's like going around the claw. So we'll do some speed lines there. All right. Claw's claw. Ah. And then all the speed lines coming from the previous panel. Just making his way through the comic page itself. I remember, I think one of my favorite fourth wall acknowledgments in the series is when he's fighting Emperor Illuminator in, I think it's comic number 8, The Illuminating Blockade. There's a point where Illuminator fires these missiles and Doko like jumps up above a panel and kicks it, and it ends up flying down towards a lower panel. Here he's not like breaking the comic panels as much as in that. It's more just going along with the flow of the action. I will define the panel more like this to show, yep, there he is, running across the comic panels. And then over here, he's going behind the comic panel. So we put the line there. That goes down a bit too much, but it's not too dark, so I can erase it. And there. That's just to help guide along where the panel lines are so that I can keep track of where the speed lines need to not be overlapping the panel lines. Yeah, when you do fourth wall type of stuff like that, it gets a bit trickier with keeping track of the panel lines and the motion and movement that breaks out and across them. You don't want things becoming too cluttered with the line work of like the structure of the page. Otherwise, it gets a bit confusing for the audience to like tell what exactly is going on. I think it's pretty clear here, though. Yeah, the comic series has its moments of seriousness, but it does not ever shy away from acknowledging that it is a comic that they are in. I remember in the Illuminating Blockade issue, they actually do point out that, like, how can I see the color of the wires? This is a black and white comic page. And that kinda, sorta humor, that would be humor, like fourth wall humor. I wouldn't call everything that people call fourth wall humor humor, though. Sometimes it's just, oh yeah, we're in a comic. And this is just going along with the physics of the fictional medium that we're a part of. Alright, getting into Doko's actual figure here. Since he's got speed lines, some of the lines blur a bit here and are broken up into like little speed segments. Which means the boot area of his suit here becomes more scratchy. There we go. Yeah, I do wish I had music to play for the audience in the background. But unfortunately, we are not hooked up into the computer in these live drawing live streams. I guess not live in these physical drawing live streams, because technically a live stream is live. That is part of the point of a live stream in general. I had a bit of trouble deciding what stance Doko should be in at this point. I originally had it so that his arm was like out and stuff, and it got a bit too extravagant to put into the side of a panel. So I ended up making him more look like he was just sort of bending into running normally after bending out of the animal run he's doing across that panel. I really do think this is prime time. I guess if I was really intent on finding out what the segment that tune comes from is, I could take a break to look it up on the internet, but I'm not going to like step away from the camera for that. Okay. Alright, the claw has his other arm here out in front of him since he's turning. They're sort of, his claws are sort of like long shovel blades. They can be duller or sharper depending on how fast he is moving them and the intent that he has for them. Because he can obviously, like, touch things and they won't just automatically start bleeding, like, the opponents he goes up against. Otherwise, the entire tournament would have turned into a bloodbath by this point. Let's see, Doku's foot would be up a bit, and the other leg would be over here. Okay. That should work. Then the claw He's got all these speed lines moving in front of him, so there'll be a bunch of speed black areas between the lines to show that his body is still back there. Then that's the bottom of the panel. So his legs come out under here. Okay. That's where they are. All right. Oh, there goes the pirate robot's arm. Sorry, handgun. I doubt you're here, but if you... Since you probably aren't, it is good to not see your favorite figure lose its body parts. There we go. And then we gotta draw speed lines around the other way, showing Doko going behind him. And that's where the speed lines here connect to on the other side of the claw. Just a few brief lines over there, but it's enough to get across the effect that it's continuing on from this point. Okay. Alright, I think that'll do. Maybe some more lines up here. There we go. That will do. It is thirst-inducing work doing all this artwork on screen at once. Let's see. Is that a line? I'll call that a line. Bo. Getting kinda tired. Let's continue on. Oh. Yeah, I don't need this anymore. No, I actually do need it some more. Never mind, I lied. Yeah, just keep it stable, not flapping open. Okay. Now we show the claw trying to whip around to where Doko is to, like, keep track of him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's kinda getting a bit more alarmed here than we've seen him previously. Not used to dealing with the fast recoil, the counter action of an opponent actually going, like, counteracting what he's done to them. But Doko's gonna give himself away, despite getting the claw into a more confused state. Because he will yell his next attack name, and that'll just point out to the claw where exactly he is, completely defeating any element of surprise that he would have had in this upcoming attack. Oh boy. Waking up from myself to a life outside this hell. No more life, no more pain. You can fight the war we've made, the war we made. Yeah, see more of what's under the hat there. Who knows? We might get to see what all is underneath the hat as time goes on. I do have concepts drawn out of what he looks like underneath the cloak and hat. But obviously that has not been shown yet. Yeah, there's very clearly some stuff that hasn't been shown of his design. Because with his design, if you pay attention, it does have elements that are more detailed underneath the parts that you normally see than characters that do not have that kind of thought put into their designs have. Well, that's the bottom panel. Oh, I sort of messed up there. Wasn't going along with the panel line in the initial light sketching phase. Work, 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 work. Gotta work, gotta work, gotta keep working. Yeah, people say take breaks and stuff, but I'm always trying to get this stuff done. So that's the tournament ground line. There's that over there. Alright, there's the tournament, the panels along the ground. Okay. One thing I don't care for when I'm working like straight up instead of laying the thing down is that the lines get more warbly and stuff when I'm working on them when it's standing straight up. Whereas when I'm hunched over it, I keep a better sense of the straightness of the lines. texture. Gotta have texture. Okay, now Doko is yelling. Cosmic kick, I think. So, how do I do this? Have the word pop up over the panel, but have it go behind the claw to show that the word is going like prevalent in the background of what he is thinking. Cosmic kick. Yeah, the audience doesn't necessarily need to know what the word Doko's yelling is in full. All that they need to understand is that that is what is alerting the claw to where Doko is going to be, completely ruining Doko's advantage that he had in the situation. Yeah, tournaments call for fancy name stuff like Kamehameha and whatnot, but when you got an opponent that is skilled enough, all that's going to do is alert them to where you are. Okay. Now I will step over to here for a second. Oh, ouch. Ayato. I will be back there momentarily. Ouch. Ow. I gotta. Okay. Okay. I am back in position. Somewhat. It is very warm today. All right. No. Now get to his hat. And I'm messing up again because I'm drawing the hat line over the eyes. The eyes are supposed to be popping out over the hat here in sort of alarm at realizing the voice and noticing where it's coming from. There we go. Ouch. Yeah, I just wish I had a setup that lent itself to putting me in a more pleasant position while I worked. That way I would not need to pause as much and readjust myself constantly while I'm doing this. There we go. And then the background of this panel is just going to be like all black to pop out the words and the claw over it. So there's where the rim of the hat is. And then we can bring the other C in the background down. I wish I could adjust this easel easier to bring the bottom of the page up more. Now I'm kind of having to crouch a bit. Oh, that's not where I should have. This is where I should have brought the, like, band of the hat out to. Another thing to fix in editing. Edit, edit, edit. Editor, skip to the part where I have everything complete. Sorry, Edward18, you're your own editor, so I will have to say no. You have to go through all of this on screen. It's... I don't know how okay I would be with having someone else edit my videos, because I always have done everything myself. I don't really know what it's like to work on a team. No one's ever really asked me to work with them on anything, so the only way I really know to do things is kind of just on my own. So I'm the editor, I'm the animator, I'm the video guy, I'm the comic maker, I'm the everything. Which does allow you to do whatever you want. But it does cause it to take a lot longer when you're by yourself on everything. But that is what fate has decided. No way to really change any of that. And then this is just a double panel down here of the claw showing his expression change. Actually, it might benefit the imagery to do this panel as a bunch of lines coming out from him. To really drive in the yelling that is going on behind him, show all the energy radiating out from the point that Doko is at behind him as he yells. Cosmic kick. And Dragon Ball had a few different attacks that dealt with like the implication of punching, where like the Kaioken is the fist of God, the Rorefufu Ken is the fist of the wolf fang. Whenever you put Ken on the end of an attack, it's like the fist of whatever. Doko Ken. I don't know if Doko means anything in any language. It's just the name that I decided on. I just always used whatever names popped into my head when making up characters when I was younger. Like Barbot felt like a good name for a robot. Mutant Kid was cool sounding. King Shadow is obviously a cool sounding character. Claw Kid, Jake Diabolical, Angel Amy, Shalonda. Mess that up. Come on. There we go. Gotta be precise with this line because it's so close to the bottom of the eyes already. Mess that up again. That's another thing once you press down hard enough and then erase and try to correct it, that line will still be there to like direct the pencil as you're drawing it because it's been pressure that's been already applied. And that'll keep warping the line as you try to fix it. Okay, there we go. This is just the claw showing his annoyance at hearing Doko give away his position. Because he's just going to end up lifting his claw arm up and blocking Doko's kick. So it's just, you're not fighting as good as I want you to. Will you please stop the name stuff? But that would go against anime tournament type of conventions to do that. People always talk about anime and cartoons as if they're two separate things, which has always been odd to me. Because they are literally just the same thing, it's just one's made in Japan and one's not. All anime means is animation. People talk about them both as if they have different styles, but that's not necessarily true. It's just whatever the creators are doing. It's just the same thing from different parts of the world is all. Yeah, my favorite anime is, well, actually, I don't really know there. I don't watch enough of them to have, like, a wide variety to choose from. And I'm just realizing I need to go check something for a second on the computer. Thankfully, it's right over here. Okay. That looks like it's going all right. Oh. All right. Yeah, the computer looks fine. Okay, so we got the claw there. Yeah, my favorite anime, I guess, would be Dragon Ball. If we're going by anime, the original Dragon Ball, because I do not care for the Z stuff compared to that. But I always count Dragon Ball and Z as one series because it is just Dragon Ball from the beginning of what people call Dragon Ball to the end of what people call Z in the comic. It was not designed as two separate series. And here, the claw's just gonna cancel out Doko's attack, lifting his arm up to block it without even looking at him. And then Doko's gonna look all flabbergasted and jump right back off of it. Have all these action lines radiating out from them. Line, line, line. Line, 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 line. Yeah, with these, when I do the speed lines and action lines and stuff, a lot of times I'll do them like really quick lines, and that gives it like more energy than the more focused lines do. Because the more focused lines end up looking more systematically placed and like blocky and uniform and stuff by comparison to the quick, frenzied speed and energy of the more sketchy looking lines. Of course, since I'm on camera and in the position I'm in, I can't do that as frequently here. Yeah, this is why I don't really do the speedline stuff that much in like my digital pictures, because it's a lot harder to do for me there, since I can't just manually move the canvas to accommodate for the angle of the lines. You sort of have to rotate the entire page around sometimes to get the lines looking right. Oh. Some of the stuff holding this easel up is threatening to come loose and topple over, which would not be good on screen, because then this all would collapse and there would be probably a disastrous result. There we go. That should go. That should do for the lines. And get the paper clip back into place. Ouch. Ow, ow, ow. Let's see. Okay, there's stuff inside this stool here. I wonder. There is another pillow over there. I'll go try to cram this into the stool to further cushion it. Okay. Oh, well, that's very ouch, weird feeling. Ow, 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 ow. There we go. Okay, let's see how this feels. It's sort of balancing on a cushion now. And that's, that does feel weird. But it's working for now. let's see, I had some effects coming off to emphasize the impact of the kick here. So we got some spiky effects there to show that it's hitting. Maybe some of these to show the vibration of it. And then just draw in the rest of the figures. I do hope everyone out there is having a good time today. It's been a pretty standard day for me. Just got up and ate and then got to work. Work sun up to sundown. That's how you know you get stuff done. And then whoever pops by along the way is a little visitor amidst all the stuff that I do. Ba-da-da-da-dee-da-da-da-da-do. Ba-ba-ba-da-bo-bee-ba-ba-ba-da-bo. Ba-ba-ba-da-ba-da-da-da-dee-da-da-da-da-do. Da-da-da-da-do-bee-ba-ba-ba-da-bo. Ba-ba-ba-da. Skibidi-dee-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Skibidi-dee-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Yeah-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-do. Ba-ba-da-bum. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-do. I'm blue, ba ba dee do dee da dee da da dee da. I'm blue, ba ba dee do dee da dee da da dee do. Blue, ba ba dee do da da dee do. I'm blue, ba ba dee do dee da. Buh. Yeah, taking you back to the 90s. Back in my day, MTV actually played music. You ever get tired of that joke? It's like the thing everybody always says about MTV. Like, yeah, we get it. It was better back then. Everyone knows that. That's the old standby you can always go to when making a jab at them. Because it is really like, you're called MTV. It's not that hard to do. So why aren't you doing it? And I know it's all them just chasing ratings and stuff, but it's like, you're the channel that does music videos. Stick to that. It's like when Cartoon Network decided to start showing live action stuff. Like, what the hell are you doing? Obviously, this is not going to go well for you. That's how TV channels are. Only concern the actual companies have is for whatever the charts say is going to make them money in that moment. Yeah, companies are basically just machines is all. They don't really have any feeling or thought to them, just simple programming that sometimes gets modified depending on who is in what position at whatever point in time. I got Doko looking a bit angry here. This battle has him looking more animalistic than I think he has normally been in the comics so far. He can get very vicious when he needs to. He just rarely has needed to so far that much in the comic. He probably could have done some damage against Bloodlust back when Bloodlust, like, made off with Tesley, but Doko was operating using a product that some shady back alley guys had given him, ensuring him that it would be a suitable way to get around, as the people of our time period apparently got around on them. And they are pogo sticks, is basically what they are. And that's the marketing tactic that the people that sold it to him were going by, is that all of us used to use those to transport and stuff. Obviously, it was just them trying to make some money. But Doko, being Doko, obviously took that as, oh, that must be true, so I should go around on these as well, which during the fight with Bloodlust just ended up meaning that he threw himself out the window on one of those. Yeah, leaving it to a rare victory by Mekmek and sort of Tesley in that issue. Let's see, the other foot goes there. Yeah, Mekmek and Tesley can do quite a bit on their own, but they're usually too scared or not willing to risk things when compared to Doko, so that holds them back from the type of stuff they could do normally. They're a lot more cowardly than Doko, obviously. Okay. There we go. Got a leg there. Ugh. Ouch. Get up. Ow. Kneeling and sitting for as long as I do doing these is not the way to go about having a human body. Ow. But it's the only way I can really do this, so that is what we do here. I realized I made the Claw's hat ridiculously long there, so gotta shorten that up a bit. That's probably too short. Maybe bring it out to there. That'll probably do. Bum, bum. All right. Get back into this. Stepping back, I realize there's a few things that I have missed out on for the details. Probably not going to get all of them on here, but the ones that I notice I will modify a bit. There we go. There we go. Let's sharpen this guy up here. It's too... we need him a bit thicker there. There we go. That way it looks all right. Oh, we got some speed lines. So, Flisk. Just some lines to show that he's quickly putting his arm up. It's a quick movement, but it's an effortless one from him. Then some lines of his arm behind the speed lines. That'll work. Then I think we just have Doko's arm to do in this panel. There we go. Okay, the fingers, thumb. Fun fact, the thumb is not a finger. When you hear people saying people have 5 fingers normally, that is not true, because this is not a finger. But everyone knows what you mean, because they're all digits coming off of the palm of the hand. Then we got this little panel here of Doko just being all shocked and stuff that the claw just brought his arm up and stopped his attack. No matter what Doko's doing, he has not really done anything that has affected the claw yet. He's made attacks, but every one of them has either been dodged or swiftly countered. And the claw himself hasn't really made much in the way of a strike against Doko. It's more of just the claw breezing alongside everything so far. Which the audience is getting quite a show out of it, but for the actual contestants, it's becoming a bit more of a frustrating endeavor or a perplexing one for Doko. This is one character that does not seem to be able to have damage inflicted on him so far, which Doko is not quite used to. Probably the toughest fight Doko has had so far was probably against the King of the Gorgoks. That did tatter his clothes up and stuff quite a bit. Yeah, there's a panel I quite like in the battle on Gorgok Mountain, where it just opens with Doko getting flung from the screen into the rock wall behind him, and all the rocks shatter out, and some blood comes out of Doko's mouth there. Really shows the power behind the strength of the King of the Gorgoks. got one eye wide and one slanted. It's always a good way to show confusion or shock, is to bend one brow and have the other eye just completely wide. Just sort of a what the hell kind of look. Now I am sitting on my feet. I have them, the knees bent on the stool I've been kneeling on. So I cannot at all see the screen of the tablet unless I pull my head back. But this is making it easier to be able to position myself for the drawing portion of this. And I just realized I did not put the belt of Doko's suit there. Yeah, I think I'll have the background to this panel be black. So that'll come in on the computer, like with that panel. Add a little rim line there to show the blockiness of the earpiece of the goggle. I'll need King Piccolo out of the way. Where do I put you? I'll just throw Piccolo onto a chair over there. Farewell, Daimyo. Alright, and the final panel. We'll do the claw of the claw, pointing straight up from where he brought the claw up. Then the lines of the floor, which break up a bit in the speed lines that go in front of them. Actually, there's supposed to be lines there that indicate the point of impact where Doko hops off of the arm. Then all these speed lines of Doko bending in the air as he drops back to the ground from where he jumps off of the claw's arm. Okay, let's have one of the lines go up and break across the speed lines. That should be good. There we go. I think that should work. Maybe another here. That should do. Then some lines coming off of here to show the point that he jumped off of. Maybe some vibration lines here. Oh, my feet are not gonna feel good when I get up. Having my body weight on, like, resting on them is probably going to do a mixture of putting them to sleep and then forcing them into the position they've been bent into for this, and have that wear off once the body comes off of them. that heated sensation flowing back into the body parts that have not been in use. I just realized I did not put Doko's arm back here. The sleeve and the elbow area. Okay. And draw the fingers and the thumb. There we go. That should do. And all of this, even with all this I've done, I'm still feeling the need to yawn. My body can never tell that it's supposed to be awake when it's daytime. Or any time. It's just always in a state of wanting to be asleep. Oh, we can't sleep. We got work to do. Yeah, you do have... Technically, everybody does have a time limit of what all they can get done throughout their lives. It's just easier to put things off the younger that you are, because at that point it's like, oh, I've got like 80 to 100 years to do things. But if you put it off for too long, there will eventually be a point of, oh, well, now I can't do all the stuff that I was hoping. I put that mouth too high, which is going to need editing now, because the line will always be there regardless of what I do. Ugh. Shake off the sleep. Reject sleep. Return to work. Alright, that works. That works. This is fine. I am okay with the chain of events that are unfolding right now. Add some cracks into the tournament arena panels. Wish that I could make straighter lines with the sketchbook angled up. Yeah, it's quite nice. The speed lines allow for enough room for me to put in the grounds lines behind them. And yeah, that's where that's his hand there. So that'll be black. That'll be black. There's the sleeve. There we go. And the fingers. Why am I doing this at this angle for Doko? I don't really need a turn for him. I guess I just sort of had this at the angle that I had it in while doing the lines for the flooring of the arena, but just kind of never switched back out of it. It's working out so far, though. Got his face tucked down between his knees in the bounce of coming back out of the jump he made. That arm stretches out quite a bit. That'll need to be fixed. Yama. But we are almost done with this here. This has gone quite nicely. So, get the back of that there. That'll work like that. Oh. Well, this has been a nice start to the morning, just working on the comic. And getting page 61 drawn out. And then I'll spend some hours editing it online. Oh, well, you don't have to apologize, Daniel. There is... Ouch. Ow. Ow. There is no requirement for anyone to watch these videos. It's just, if people do see them, I hope they have a good time. And I hope the tree moving went okay on your end. Yeah, we're just getting towards the end of making this page. Trying to come up with a little design for the audience member back here. Looking all shocked at the performance that Doko has given and that the Claw has given. Just another character to go along with all these ones up here. Ooh. And we'll give her some hair like that. Jester Joel type of design to the strands coming off. Probably space for another character there. Aye. Yeah, now my legs, now that I've moved, are feeling the blood flowing through them again after I'd been sitting on them and cutting off the circulation for the last 10 minutes. Yeah, there we go. do the chairs behind them. Aye. Okay, I think that will be about it for the comic page. Add in the stands back here. Alright. Okay. Get my hands and joints all repositioned. Ow. And that is how you do a comic page for the like 15th or 16th time that I've done streams of doing it. Although after this, now I gotta go through and do out all the panel lines and stuff. And then it'll be on to the however many hours it'll take to edit the page on the computer. Ah, bo. Yeah, this has been the latest comic page. Ouch, and I am getting up to, move my body after it looks like 3 hours of sort of staying here in one spot and occasionally going to the computer or to get ice. Babayado. Oy, yama. Ba. And I'm still yawning even after all this time. Well. Well, I hope everyone that has stopped by throughout the hours has enjoyed the bits that they've seen of this. And ouch, I guess I will get ready to start working on the editing process of all this. Or I'll eat something, because I'm kinda hungry now. But either way, I guess we shall, see you all later, and, bye-bye for now.